Hello. Okay, finally. This is live. Having some issues. Oh, wait. No, 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 no. Not sure why it's doing that. Sorry for the echo. Now it should no longer be picking up on the echo. Okay. Okay, so I have been having some issue, as I was saying on Twitter, that um, I'm I was trying to do it for the first time to basically stream on Twitter, but it seems that sorry, not on Twitter, on Twitch, and it seems that that failed. So yeah. Um, hey, hello. Now it seems that we have some viewers. Okay, so let me switch to so I can see um, the monitoring stuff on the secondary screen, and also the live coding. Come on. Where's my mouse? Here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now it seems that we have again some people watching the stream. Hello. Uh, so let me say also message on Twitter, so I can notify people everything is okay now, and give the link. Where is it? Here. It's kind of strange. You're seeing something else, but than what I'm seeing, but it's a little bit better this way. I don't want people to see passwords and things like that. Live. Okay. As per the single vote, we'll be talking about fuzzing. Rustling and fuzzing in this live coding session. Just YouTube, Twitch had issues. Okay, so okay, message was posted on Twitter, so you can close this and okay. Not sure why I'm hearing still the sound in the speakers, not in the headphones. Let me check something. Let me check another video clip or something.
Vara asta, bucură-te de Pepsi, gustul preferat al fiecărui.
Okay. Okay, so it seems that it's fine. Not sure if OBS picked that up. I guess not. No. Okay, good. Okay, so let's transition to our. So now what you're seeing is the exorcism site. This is the in the last three live coding sessions I've been working on this poker hand exercise. The task for this exercise was to. Oh, it's so disturbing that I'm hearing that video. I'm not sure why I'm hearing that. I think I know. Okay. Now it should be okay. So, okay, good. Now it's okay. Good. So, what we've been looking at was there's something strange happening here. Okay. So here. Okay, so this is the exercise. If you don't know, Exorcism is a site. You can make an account. You can learn a lot of languages. I've chosen Rust. So this is already half an hour up past the proposed starting test, so I won't go into much into details. So I've made some coding sessions on okay, let me move this also. On the other screen. Okay, good. So this is no longer distracting me. So I've been working on these exercises, and they have been on this exercise, and these three sessions have been set up on another channel, but the ones that you're looking at now, I'm planning to use from now on only this channel where this YouTube stream is at now. And since the, let's say, the Twitter, where is it? Here. So since the Twitter poll had only one vote, and that was voting for fuzzing, I will look into that. So what's okay. Okay, thank you for the likes. So this is a semi. Typically, what I do in these sessions is to go semi unprepared, in the sense of I don't do much work in advance. I don't much do preparation in advance to get an authentic live coding session at the level at I'm which now. I would say I'm maybe a beginner towards medium. I get some understanding of the borrow checker, of the basics. I went through the book. I'm not the person to read the book from end to end, and I'm actually looking for exercises and things that I can do practically, so I can learn. So this is the way my mind works. Hence the exercises from Marxism are nice. So what I've done beforehand is just look for Rust fuzzing. It seems that there is a so-called Rust fuzzing authority. I suspect this is a so-called tool mm, repository and things like that that help you with all things fuzzing in Rust. Um, there is Rust, so this seems to be linking to all the things Rust. As you can see, AFLRS is also here. Um, Cargo fuzz. Um, there is some continuous Rust fuzzing, some examples, but I think it makes sense, instead of going to some advanced exercises, to go from something that I'm a little bit familiar with. So that's why I've chosen HongFuzz. Um, so HongFuzz is mm, Google developed code which was initially written for in C++, I think. Um, I've used it to experiment a little bit with fuzzing on some C code to see how it looks like and how it works. And sorry, some C++ code. I've installed the dependencies. I'm working with a Debian machine, so I've installed all these dependencies. I also found out that I needed lib uh, LZMA, LZMA dev, and I've created an issue just a few hours ago. So lib LZMA dev is a prerequisite, and that's it. Um, so with these dependencies installed, what you want to do next is cargo install HongFuzz, um, and let's assume this is the initial state. So you have cargo install HongFuzz. Um, in my case, this is already installed, so it will say, okay, this is already installed, there's nothing to do. Yeah, it's a double G. Okay, it's already installed. Use first override. I don't want to do that, it doesn't make any sense for me. And it proceeds in showing an example on how to use this fuzzing tool. So what it says, okay, you should use HongFuzz as a dependency. That's what I have here in my cargo TOML. And then an example, a small example, which basically has a main loop, uses a macro fuzz, and in this main loop you get some the fuzz macro basically takes some data as input and puts it into this closure, and this is the code that you're supposedly fuzzing. So as you can see in this case, it says if data len different than 6, return. If data in Q, and so on and so forth. So basically it will go all through these if statements. If the generated input string is 6 U8 mm, I don't know, a slice of 6 U8, which equal to the characters Q, W, E, R, T, Y. And if that happens, it intentionally panics. So this is simulating a code that it would generate a panic under some particular inputs. So let's look at this code. This is exactly this code here. Um, this code seems so HongFuzz, the Rust version of this is seems to be supportive for stable, for, as you can see, see somewhere around here. I'm not sure where it says. Where is it? Yeah, so it's stable beta nightly. I'm using stable for all sorts of reasons. So in this case, using extern create honk fuzz to get the macro, and the macro is this fuzz, and it's running this. So the example is then proposing to then cargo h fuzz run example. Example is the name of our binary. For ease of uh, explanations and following the explanations, I've used this exact name for the package, which is example. So the command will work exactly as in those explanations. So hfuzz run example. This is the command that we had. Oh, I dropped some water on my keyboard. Okay, not too much, just a drop. Okay, so it would run just as it would in the examples, and the effect was to compile our main example, and we'll generate via the honkfuzz library some instrumentation code that generates all sorts of inputs, and the point is to get some crashes here. So after these crashes are generated, honkfuzz being let's say uh, it is a tool that looks at the input that it gave, and because it uses code instrumentation, it analyzes which are the code coverage, which are the code paths that were covered by the various inputs that were given. So it tries all sorts of inputs until it manages to activate another code path and another code path and another code path and so on. So this would eventually generate the QWERT, QWERTY, which would in turn generate the panic, which is the purpose of any, let's say, sorry, any fuzzing tool, because it is supposed that if your code crashes, then it is an unhandled error. So we will let this run in the background, and meanwhile we'll go to the poker exercise and see what could be how we could apply this kind of technique into our case. Unfortunately, as a preparation for this, I've run these examples. I managed to crash it after maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes of running. It ended up crashing in a single place, of course, because there is only one place where it crashes. But past that point, run debug example, whatever, this was not working for me. So we will see if that happens. So now, unfortunately, the processor is actually, let me see, where is it? It is kind of pushed to the max. Okay, so let's do this transition. So I make sure that I'm recording this, because if this, yes, I'm recording. So if this interferes with the streaming, then it's no fun. Okay, so okay, So where is it? This is what I'm. Okay, so as I was saying, going back to our poker example, so let's check for the last one time here. There are no crashes, so we will let these two. So at this point there are 31 edges, and we will let that work. So the way exorcism works is that you are being given a skeleton function, uh, one or two, typically just one, and you must make that. You must implement the body of that function, or maybe some other functions and structures and things like that, so that you get what is it? Okay, okay. Let me be a little bit more in frame. Okay, so that you make some tests that are associated with a code path. So these are provided by the platform, the exorcism platform. So you have all sorts of tests, and in this case, being a poker game, there is a there is a test that okay, if you're giving various hands, you pick up um, the winner or the winners if there are more of them. Um, so the function that was given uh, as a skeleton was actually this one, winning hands, and this one receives a hands slice of stars, and there is a requirement that this would return an option vec of stars, and those stars should be the exact same ones that were given in the input, not other ones, not reconstructed ones as they say here, which happen to be identical to the ones that are given in the input. So the format of the input is basically a um, plain text star, plain text, whatever. UTF-8 encoded. Actually, I'm not sure if it's UTF-8. I think it's Unicode. It doesn't matter. So you just have a star here, and the assumption basically here is that this is a valid input. Whatever hand you receive, you have 5 groups separated by spaces, and on the first position you get a number between 1 and 10, or J for Jack, Q for Queen, K for King, and A for Ace. Um, while at the same time, on the second position you get one of hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. So the first letter of those words. So what we could do in our case is to we could fuzz our function to make sure that we're not processing, let's say, some, let's call them cheating hands of poker, where you have maybe other colors than other suits than those four, or you have other numbers or strings but those that we mentioned. Maybe you have some kind of things like a zero or something like that. So this is since the purpose of fuzzing is to find cases where you didn't thought of, um, what you typically want to do is to um, just generate something which is accepted as an input, at least on first glance. So in our case, if you get some stir, uh, since that's the only restriction that this function has, if you put it in another slice, then that's your let's say your possible input for the function that you have. Of course, in our case, we have a slice of stars. So we might want to generate an empty slice, a slice with one element or with multiple elements, and each of those elements, which is a stir, could have some kind of I don't know, maybe some kind of uh, junk input, and that would generate some error. So going back to the Hong fuzz example, as you can see here, the input is just a slice of U8. So we could replicate this kind of situation since our code is already in a source lib, and this is a pub function. We could simply fuzz this at the interface level. So we could make our own main uh, binary, our main or bin or binary, plain binary, not a library, that uses the library. And in the main loop of that binary, we would actually use this kind of skeleton where we provide some random input, which let's say, we pre-validate as being um, a possible candidate. So if we generate a plain U8 slice instead of a stir, that um, that would break first of all, the Rust compiler would not accept that as input because this would be a different data type. Second, if it were to accept it, you have to cast it uh, to change it into valid stir. So let's try and do that. So first, before doing that, let's see if HonkFuzz managed to crash the example. No, it didn't. So it proceeded a little bit further. When we left, it was at 31. So I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. So it maybe progressed. So maybe this was the first, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, 34th, and now 35th. So it's most likely trying to go towards these data 4 and data 5 cases. So we'll be mostly, uh, most likely will be soon going into that crash or running it. So meanwhile, let's look at the other code that we have here. This was submitted in the previous live coding session. I unfortunately in that stream I had some issues with the connectivity, and there are actually two pieces of the stream, um, but that's on another channel or not on this, and I'm still editing the material. I'm actually not sure if I will be uploading something, but I have a small tidbit of maybe 5-10 minutes that I will upload on my on this channel. Uh, it was a really interesting situation where I had 27 tests failing at some point, and just building up some code without running the tests, and going from compiler error to refactoring to changing to things like that. And in the end, when the code compiled, and I thought, okay, this should be a first working version, actually when I ran the test, all of them were passed. So uh, it kind of it at that point made me laugh. So it's kind of nice. And this was something like maybe an hour or something that of between this execution. Maybe if it was even more because I was working on some basic blocks and the actual test I wasn't running for some time. So, but it's nice that the type system guided me to that solution. So let's see how we can make what we can do here is create a main.rs, and I think we need to tell um, our cargo toml that we want to make this where is it, um, where is it here. So let's see, cargo binary and library cargo toml. Okay, most likely this is somewhere in the book. Rust package with both a library and a binary cargo book. Okay, so let's try first. Okay, so we have a lib and then a bin, and okay, so we have this bin. Let's just copy that, although we don't want it that way, we will use something a little bit no, this one. Okay, so we will say bin, my name, let's just say fuzz, and then just say let's just say fuzz, and we'll rename fuzz, not fox. Okay, and we also want some library. Don't ask me why bin has two square parents, square brackets. I don't know, I find it strange, but that's how it is. Name path, so name will be poker, and this source lib. And now let's rename this to fuzz.rs. Okay, so we have both of these, and let's just say cargo check. Main function not found in create fuzz. Yes, of course, there is no such function. Okay, so let's copy from the other example because we want to use that same template. For now, let's not do anything. So let's see if we got rid of the error that we don't have a main. Okay, so it seems that we do. Cargo check. Clippy is complaining about my code, so regarding this Clippy warning that I'm using ANF0 unwrap for suit, I would say I kind of disagree, but because the point of my so the point of this is that we get a card and we just get the so this function here gets a star which actually contains just one group, one card. So let's say 3 of diamonds, so it's 3D, or I don't know, 8 of clubs, so it's 8C. So because there are cases like 10 where you cannot be sure that the second character is the suit, I'm just doing card stir, which is the input, the card, chars, and then reversing and then getting nth0, and Clippy is saying that I should use next. I guess I could. Um, so cargo check. Uh, where is it? I think I need to cargo clean to get again the warnings. Okay, that unfortunately cleaned up everything. No? Cargo, Clippy, all targets. Okay, and in this case it says, yeah, for the main, for the code that we just created, main is empty, so it says, oh, that's not good, it's an empty loop, so we don't want that, so it's an infinite loop. But for the library it says that it appears that I'm trying to be matching on a Boolean expression, but the reason why I disagree with this is that this is the case where I'm trying to handle the straight, and if something is straight, and handle also the ace case, and that means that all cards are consecutive. It's broken up into pieces where I check the second, so card with index 1, 2, 3, and 4, check them if they are in consecutive, and if they are in consecutive, and the card, and then I'm checking that if the card at rank 0 is also bigger with 1 unit than the one on position 1, because I'm already ordering them, then I get that to be a straight. But I also want to handle the ace key. So yeah, I'm matching on the boolean, but I don't know how I would put this in an if in a clean manner, because I think it's clearer this way. So from this point of view, I disagree with Clip at this point. So let's see if our no, fuzzing didn't progress, so let's go back to our fuzzing example. So no, no, and this will fail because we don't have honk fuzz. So but we want to add a honk fuzz only for the case of the binary, so most likely we need to look again how we can add some dependencies just for the binary, and I think that will be in the cargo book. So let's just say dependencies. Okay, so dependencies, I think there will be something like a dependencies dot and the name of the binary. As the section. So package, I'll take the latest commit and cargo lock, that's the cargo lock. And let's see, build dependencies development. Yeah, so your panel offers conditional features. You can specify. No, oh, this is for features. Oh no, for features. So I think actually this is correct. So build dependencies, development dependencies. If you're using a custom target specification, such as target for bar, use finding without a JSON extension. Okay. So I guess it's something like this. So in case of a target, that's it. But we just say dependencies. Where is it? Dependencies dot and the binary. So let's try that, and we will see if it works. So let's just say dependencies dot. I don't know if it's bin or fuzz. Let's just say fuzz. And then just say hong fuzz fuzz yeah, so I guess I could just take a pic here, so, or I could just let I don't have the okay, I have to look into Hong Fuzz and see, no, let's just copy the information from here. So it's 59 whatever 0549. So just see this, and let's check if it's working. Can't find crate. Okay, so I guess that's not it. Let's just say maybe bin. No. Okay, what's the syntax? Overriding dependencies, patch, cargo build, patch, repository URL, dependencies, patch, replace. Okay. Package lib. Okay. For each bar can be customized in the bin tables in cargo tomos. Okay. What about dependencies? They are also linked to dependencies. Example, tests, benchmark, lib, name field. I don't know how to do that. Maybe I should say require feature and then fuzz, and then for fuzz I would put a dependency on Hong fuzz. I guess. Okay, let's try that. If it doesn't work, we just say, so what was it? Required features something. Being required feature, say fuzz, and then our features. Now we say fuzz. Feature fuzz. Features and okay, so this will have honk fuzz, it's unhappy. Oh, right? No. Leave feature. I think this is no longer true. Okay. Okay, I don't care then. Just remove this, uncomment this, put this as a dependency for all, and that's it. And just say no features. Okay, so this should work. Yeah, it started compiling HonkFuzz. Good. Unfortunately, it's not necessary for the library, but for the purpose of the exercise, it's okay. So let's see if anyone is saying anything in the chat. No, I don't see anyone. Okay. Okay, so now it compiled, and where is it? Here. Okay, so now basically we have the same code as in the exercise, in the example. It's still 35 and there are no crashes. Okay. Maybe I misread how much time. Maybe it was about 20 minutes. I don't know. So this is running for 12 minutes already. Okay. So this is something that we will look at next. But so what we want now is some kind of way to call our public API. So let's just split this window vertically. Split right, and we don't care about cargo tumble now. We don't care about the lib. We just lib this in. Okay, so what we care is about our function here. We don't care about anything else. Okay, so let's look at the signature of this. So we have a hands, which is a slice that contains some stars. So what we want, because Fuzz can generate some arbitrary code, The fuzz marker gives an arbitrary object. See arbitrary crate. So let's look at the arbitrary crate so we can understand what is the way that home fuzz is working. Let's say arbitrary crate. Okay, no, crates tail and search for arbitrary. Most likely that generates some arbitrary input which can be put into some, I don't know, in an unsafe manner, put into some kind of type. So let's just say arbitrary crate. So this create trait for generating structured data from unstructured data. Okay, construct an arbitrary instance of a type. Permanent need to be combined with the fuzzer. Okay, so we should read the API. Say writing a color of conversion library. Have RGB struct. Take RGB. Deriving arbitrary. Okay, so automatically deriving the arbitrary trait is recommended way to implement arbitrary type. Okay, but that supposes that I am the implementer. But since in our case we are not, as our input is a slice of stars, we cannot derive that easily. So we will need to make some kind of workaround, maybe generate some other structure that contains a struct or something like that, or we could implement it by hand. Okay, let's see how that. So it's a function arbitrary which returns a result. Case reduction, and to find the smallest shrink. Okay, so let's look into the documentation. Well typed. Oh, produce a well typed. So maybe it has some default implementations for stars. Oh, here's a T of 1, a slice of T1. Okay. So in our case, we would want, so an empty slice, it's simple. We don't care about that. For all these other cases, it would be nice if we had a star. So in each star here, it represents a hand, whole hand. But what these are doing here is allowing you to generate 1, 10, 11, whatever, how many hands that you, how many T's you want, and in our case the T could be the star. Okay, atomic bull, box egg, cow. Oh, we have a string. So we could generate a string, and can we generate, do we have also a star? But it doesn't matter. If we have a string, we can just give it as a slice. So that is a star. So it's implementing a string. So if we pass into our if we pass here a string with a string, string. And I think it actually needs a reference to it, or it just gives it. Okay, yeah, now it's unhappy because these are whatever. Let's just do that. Um, let's see if so this works. So we generate a string here. What about a vec of, yeah, we can have a vec of strings most likely. Just say vec of no, actually we want a slice. So let's just say we want a slice of two strings. Okay, so yeah, of course now the data is not trade bound, is not satisfied. Yeah, okay, so we have this and we could give it as a parameter to, so as a reference to our input. So let's try that, and for our case data length has no meaning because that's the number of hands that we have. So let's just say what happens. Let's just see what happens. So let's pass that directly to our function. So give us our winning hands of reference to data. And I think I actually need to change this. So let that whatever equals this vector option which contains a vector of slices or a vector of yes, strings, stars. Winning hands, cannot find winning hands in the scope. I think I need to say create. No? Does this work? So carpet check, not found. Oh, I need to use create and this, right? No. So how do I do that? Let's look at the test code. Maybe that gives us a hint. Use poker. Oh, use poker winning hands. Okay. So let's just say use poker winning hands. Okay. Okay. And now it complains that it was expecting a slice of stars and found an array of two elements, and it contains third string whatever. So what we want is to change to create a slice with reference to those. So let hands equals data dot map, and we get one string, and we return a slice to it, and we collect and let hands let's just do the type inference if it can. Data iter. Okay. No. Transforms can take everything. I think it complains it doesn't know how to turn it into. Cannot be built from an iterator of elements of types. Ooh. String. No. So, okay. But now it still complains about the type. Cannot be built from stud iterator stud string. Okay. So what if we give it here a reference? Value type star cannot be built from. Oh. To star, I think. Or into. No. Okay, so let's see. So string. No, not arbitrary. We want the standard library. Oh, come on. String. Let's see. Did this? Oh, 37. Okay, it progressed 2 more steps. So maybe there isn't a one-to-one correspondence between these ifs and the code path or whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I guess if that's maybe it ended up generating this character, but it's not a Y. So yeah, okay. So let's see, did the page load? String. The computer is starting to move very slowly due to this video processing and fuzzing stuff going in the background. Okay. Two types of strings in Rust: string and star. String is stored as a vector, but guaranteed only to violate use effect. The string is heap allocated, global and non. A star is a slice that always points to valid UTF question can be used to view it as string, just like D can. Okay, so what I could do is just get string push, maybe give some slices. Let's just try that. S and just say dot dot. Oh, it's getting very slow. No method not found. Instead star map star slice. Huh? Don't know what is going on. Value star cannot be used to return star. Okay, so let's say we want star. Is not implemented for. Oh, come on, this is stupid. Okay, let's just say data iter. Oh, just say for s in data. Let's create another vector. Let oh, so this is a slice. Let v equals vec new, but I will create another vector. Just say v push. Oh, this needs to be mutable. What if we don't create this from the get-go and just say vec of anything, and just then hands off, and I think it was happy. No, it wasn't. Method not found for Okay, let's just do something. No. Okay, so let's do something that's a little bit more obvious. Vec new. This is a mutable vector, and then we just say for s in hands in data. We say v push, and we say s and borrow the array or call whatever. Yeah, okay. Enter. Push. Not enough parentheses. Right. Okay. So now it liked it. This is actually what I was trying to write with the iterator, but it seems that I'm maybe this should have been like this. And then yeah, was just one step away from it. Okay, so let's erase that. Cargo, yes, cargo clippy. Maybe it has some suggestions. No, it doesn't. So now in theory, we will generate some arbitrary hands. Actually, there are some arbitrary strings that we turn into stars, and we just call winning hands. And that will, we don't need this to panic. We just need winning hands to panic. Okay, so let's see if this other one generate any crashes. No, still no crashes, and still 37. Okay. Okay, so going back to our fuzzing example, cargo hfuzz run, and then the name of the binary. So cargo hfuzz run, and then fuzz. Okay, let's see what happens. The expectation is that it will most likely crash by going to one of the unwraps. So if we search for unwrap, no, I thought somebody said something. Here you can see I have uh, 4 unwraps here, so most likely it will trip in one of these unwraps here. Yeah, so you can see you have 2 unique, so it crashed a lot because the input, it's in no shape or form uh, restricted to be something like uh, just some strings space, no, 2 characters space, 2 characters space, 2 characters space. So this just some arbitrary star there. So if we stop this, this is expected basically in our case. There is nothing new here. Um, but in some cases we can see this fuzz line 0 unknown. Why? Why? Release fuzz. So there were 2 unique crashes. Wow, timeouts. We had timeouts. That's interesting. So maybe there were some cases where the strings were too big. So we could target the fuzzing a little bit more by saying, well, but I'm not sure why this is happening. Unknown file. See abort. Mm. So these were the 2 unique ones, I guess. But I don't know why there isn't any kind of debugging information. So let's look into the documentation. Say cargo hfuzz run debug, and then okay, let's just say like that. Yeah, it was a bad idea to name the binary fuzz because now we have a cargo hfuzz run debug fuzz. We repeat a lot of things. So let's just say uh, let's let's change the name of this binary and let's call it uh, poker fuzz. Okay. Okay, so let's build again. Cargo check. Let's say poker fuzz. Okay, so we have already 2 unique crashes. I guess it's a matter of time until it generates some, yeah, we get some timeouts. So maybe timeouts are happen when the strings are too big or something like that. Let's try to filter those out. So I don't think it's reasonable. Actually, in practice, it makes sense to limit these, but let's do the following. So the purpose of this is to debug it. So let's see if we can generate this information correctly. So let's see if there is some kind of Linux C compiler, we have that. Unwind blocks runtime rendering and compiling with Clang. Okay. Fuzz in a debug environment. Okay, so let's replay that because we have two of them. Oh, it's so slow. Now there are two processes, so let's stop this one. Let's see if the other one crashed. No, not yet. And we're still at 37. Okay, so maybe we should nice this a little bit. Maybe by the end of the stream it will crash. So it is running already for uh, huh? For no, something is not. Oh, 1 hour. 1 hour 4 minutes. Okay. Okay, so let's go in our case and say not example because our binary is called poker fuzz. See what is going on here. Maybe it generates the correct code, although in the test that I did before, in the preparation test that I did before, it didn't. And those reports are not, do not look okay. Yeah. Invalid command, enable meta key, command script import, type summary, target create, correct executable set of hfuzz, smoker fuzz, break at rust panic, address whatever, fail to open fuzzing workspace fuzz. I think it actually needs a particular, let's try one of them. So let's just say where is it? Fuzzing workspace. Why don't have a hfuzz? Oh, it's not called fuzzing workspace, it's called hfuzz. I wonder why there is this discrepancy. Poker fuzz, and then Sigabot. Let's just say star fuzz. Star fuzz. Right? Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. Okay, cool. So we have a backtrace. So it says that Rust panic, so panic whatever, and we're getting somewhere at librs line 128. So let's look at line 128, and it says assert equal card start len, it's -2, it's less or equal to 1. This assert is actually making sure that after the entire string is split in groups separated by spaces, this assert is trying to make sure that the assumption that we have something like 1 digit and then a suit which represents the letter, or 10 in the sense of 1 0 and then a suit, those are the only, and letter JQKA for Jack, Queen, King and Ace, are the only basically the only thing that are in there. So this, if this assert fails, it means that indeed the card, it's one particular group of characters, it's not a valid card because its length is bigger than uh, 3 characters. This is what actually it's saying here. So maybe I would say maybe a nicer thing could be just say uh, len smaller or equal to 3, because that's 3 characters. Okay, so I guess that's correct. So we could say something like, instead of assert, oh, in this case we can't do that because our new function returns self. So we would rather need to return an option or a result. So we can wrap the valid value in the sum case, or in case this is not correct, wrap it in a none. So we can bubble up the error 1 level up, and at that point we could do something like, so let's see, this was called from, where is it, poker card new panic begin fund, um, hand new at lib.rs 187. So if we go to 187, you will see that it has a map which gets a card stir, and that expects a card type to be returned. But if that is interesting, so the hand rank also expects that the input is valid. So I would say that yeah, the assumption is this was correct from the get-go. So maybe a little bit higher. Option, yeah, we're already in the standard library. So here, poker annual librs 185 here, and then winning hands at line 21. So let's go to line 21, and you can see here, so we have a hand stir, and we're creating from the hand stir a hand rank new. And for this case, I am actually unsure how I would handle this, because if the hand was invalid, then if we return options from the lower level to the higher levels, lower levels to the higher levels, then a none or an error for a result could mean that somebody cheated the poker, so the inputs are invalid. Um, Another way through which we could handle this would be to restrict. This will not eliminate the crashes. This is one thing that is clear. But what we could do is look into each of the hand stirs and filter out the ones that contain other characters than the digits, and faces plus the suits. So uh, once that happens, you could say whatever that's a whatever a none or a false or whatever case, and then we can filter those. So the easiest thing would be to have a hand rank changed into hand rank new to change an option. Um, so let's just say option self. Um, and um, hand rank return hand rank, and just say sum of that, and we say sum of that, or sum of that. And we have also some later cases where we say sum of, come on, of this. Okay, so now we're returning an option. Okay, compiler is happy now. Let's just check. Quit. Yes. Let's just say, let's check the test will pass test. Okay. Expected in and rank found option. Yeah, of course you did. Okay, so what is that? Uh, so hand rank. Uh, hmm. We need to. So we could emit the tuple, and then we can filter. Uh, hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, we could emit the tuple, and we can then filter if the second field is none, but that would be ugly. Mm, because then we would need to so then we could emit something like some hand and then none, some hand and then none, but then we would filter those which are none, and afterwards we would unwrap. Actually we would unwrap without any kind of, or we could say if let what is sure is that we need to keep the hand stir in here. mm, together with the hand rank, because we otherwise we lose this we lose the input string stir, sorry, not the string, the stir. So mm, what if maybe there is a map filter or map if has this managed to crash? No, still at 37. So let's see if we have some kind of, let's say, filter, iterator, filter, all chain, map, cycle, enumerate, filter map. Why doesn't it work? So annoying. Filter map. Create and iterate with both filters and maps. Okay, cool. The closure must return an option T. Filter map creates an iterator which calls this closure on each element. If the closure returns a sum, then that element is returned. If the closure returns a none, it will try again. Cool. So this is what we want. So we filter map, we said we want filter map, and we say if let sum h equals to hand rank new. We have a lot of close parents, but okay, where is it? If this, then we return. Oh, what did I do here? So if let sum h equals to this, then it means why aren't my parent is colored? I'm not sure. I have a plugin which is supposed to color. Parent. Bracket here. What? Ah, this is not what I need. Embrace. Prettier, indent, format. Where are those? Let's see. Enabled bracket pair coloring. Enable globally, so why doesn't it work? I don't know. Maybe it interferes with the Rust plugin. Anyway, okay. So if if we are on the sum variant, then what we want to return is a hamster with an h, but we want to return the sum. of that else, we return none, which is the way the filter map works, right? Expected, I think it's again. Okay, assert equal. Okay, so the assert equal, that should be fine. So hand rank, let's just replace this with hand rank unwrap. No, not there. Place, let's do it like this, parentheses, not regex, and we want that. Fine, next. Yes. Replace. Oh, no. Yes. I think that's it. Okay, and cargo check again. Supply to argument, expected one. Oh, yeah, of course. When this is a tuple, I need to return a tuple. So I need some extra parentheses. Okay. Mismatch delimiter. And close delimiter. And close. Oh, come on. I did such a stupid thing as just putting an unwrap open. Yeah, okay. Open. Let's just replace that. Oh. With that. It should be okay. Gonna check. Yeah. Okay, test. Okay, so now the fuzzer should be a little bit more happier, because now we are going to reject. Are we? I guess we are. So git diff. Yeah, we didn't commit in a long time. So filter map, hand rank. So the hand rank could return a sum, but we didn't actually handle the panics. So we just changed the types, which would allow us to return none, but we never return none. So let's just git add minus p, git add minus p, just say add these, nothing in this file, git status, and then git add source fuzz rs, and let's ignore hfuzz something. Cut, git ignore, yes, hfuzz something. Oh no, status. Okay, git add, git ignore, say git MNSM, and some preliminary fuzzing binary. Okay, so now we just say git d, and we can say okay, we just change this to allow some, and now let's see if we can return none from the new function of handrank. Sorry for the noise. Any questions in the chat? No. Okay. So what we could do now is we can naively say that, oh, maybe I handled that fuzzing issue that we had before. So you could say, we just say clean hfuzz. Just remove those and just say cargo hfuzz run poker fuzz. This will immediately also crash again because we didn't change basically anything in the logic. We still have this assert that we will fail, but we just prepared the situation where we could in theory return a none and ignore those invalid hands. So yeah, we already have 2 crashes. Okay, we can stop. And we can run again the debugging session and say, okay, let's see what happened. Still have some poker fuzz issues. Did that finish? No, it's still in crash. Wow. Maybe I need to stop it and restart it, so maybe it will be more capable of finding that same path. So again, at leave 189. Let's see. So panic, begin, unwind, panicking, poker card new. Early bar is 132. So this is exactly the same line. There is nothing changed here, but of course we can um, I'm not actually sure how I move to that frame so I can see the state in that case. So let's just see LLDB. I'm more used to JTAG debuggers and things like that with some frame move, no, back trace, just see what's examining the call stack and just say frame. Okay, GDB, process launch, run. Also, there are some changes, so if you're familiar with GDB, LLDB, it's not necessarily identical. So let's just see frame, set up auto current selected frame, finish, return immediately from the current frame with the option of return value. Now set the condition on watch point. Frame var global. So examining arguments and local for current frame. Frame V. Just see frame. Info. Oh, frame select. Okay, this is actually what I was looking for. Frame select 5. Good. So let's see, frame list. No, info. Yeah, frame info. Poker fuzz and rank. No, this is not actually the one that I was looking at. I was actually trying to get to frame 4. Yes, card new frame 4. So frame select 4. So that's exactly the place where I was looking at. Okay, good. So nice to see that. Wonder if there is a way to integrate this LLDB with VS Studio, Visual Studio Code, but I don't know. Okay, so in our case, we would need to also bubble up from this some option. So we'd say option of self, and then we will say if this then we return none, otherwise we return this, but we have to wrap it in a sum. Not csum, but sum. Okay, so hard. Huh? Card. Oh, yeah. It was card. What? I pressed insert accidentally. Okay, so we return some card and now it's fine. The formatting is a little bit off, so let's fix that. Okay. Okay, let's just say quit. Yes. And now let's cargo check and see where the cards, the new is used. So we need to check if it is a card, and then if it isn't, no, it's if it's a sum, and if it's a none, then we need to pop up the none. Okay, we unwrap basically. No, actually we don't unwrap, we need to use the question mark operator, so it bubbles up the error. So we return an option, then that will be the right thing. Okay. So mismatch types, expected card found option. Of course, we change the type. So what we need is oh, so if we if we get card new, just say this. Only used in a closure that returns result or option. Cannot use the question mark operator in a closure that return card. The trade of this function returns result or an option, but it does. But I think the problem is the map. Oh, maybe we need some kind of map try or something like that. Okay. So let's just see map. Try map. Map while. Try find. Try fold. Try for each. Identify the foilable function to each item in an iterator, stopping at the first error and returning that error. That's fine. If we fail to convert something, we just bubble up nothing. We have nothing. Okay. So try for each. This is okay. And R must implement try. So it can be either an option or a result. So try for each is like a map, and just say try for each, and then this should be oh come on, try for each. So the trades stand-ups try not implemented for card, but card new no longer returns, or does it? Did I change the signature? Yes. Card new now returns an option to self. So card new. Oh, I no longer. I think there is something weird going around here, but I think I don't need to use the question mark operator, or do I? So let's just say this card new. Try for each. Expected struct card found. Nothing. What? Oh. No, there isn't. This isn't a unit type. I don't understand. Then I don't understand. So data, notice, tail, whatever, right? was front run. So it right lines. Oh, so the X itself is right. T try for each. Rest is okay. Oh, applies a followable function to each item in iterator, stopping at the first error and returning that error. This can also be thought as a followable function for each, or the stateless version of trifold. So we can try for each. Function that has a self item returns. Let's see, try find. I'm not using nightly, but at least maybe I'll understand. What is this? Okay. No results. Try find. Try fold. Function as long as it returns successfully produces a single final value for each. Let's so try for each. So what is the type of res? Res is okay. Let's just see debug. What? Oh, because right line is unit type. What if we say x? A trace term is not available for reference tester. What? For each data. Oh, sorry. For each. For these, it doesn't have a no size that compile them. Yeah. So. Oh. So. For each. Oh, so let's just map x into some x. Just say. Don't know that. Don't do that cannot be formatted with the default formatter. Yeah, of course. Expected. Found nothing. Mm-hmm. No, something is wrong. I'm not getting this the right way. Let's see. Rust by example. Try. Did that fuzzing finish? No. Oh god, it's running already for 2 hours. Okay. Let's try, maybe I understand now better. An iterator method that applies a followable function to each item in the iterator, stopping at the first error and returning that error. This can be thought of as a failable form for each, or as the stateless version of trifold. For each, calls a closure on each element of an iterator. So oh, for each, okay. But I guess try for each. But this is a failable function in my case, right? My, not this one. My card new could return a none. So why doesn't it like it? Type is message resolving as try okay. State option, option car, state opt try. Okay. Maybe Turtle has something. Um, ignore the failed items with filter map. Fail interruption with collect. select all valid values with partition. No. No. So so before we had map, and this was returning. Oh, so why don't we do this? Filter. Do we have a try? Skip, take, skip, try, find, try. Try, find, take while. Yes, partial map while. No, nightly. Filter map. Why not filter map? See, filter map and filter map. Closure margin option T, filter map. This is actually what I wanted. Now that's stupid. Okay. Expected struct card found in okay, cards, and now so then we don't debug this, and we say if cards, no, if let some cards equals cards, then we do nothing else. Return none, right? No, actually, if any filter map said that yeah, I know. It's phone. What is going on here? Mm, actually, no. What I would need is to see if um, what something's wrong here. I'm not sure why, but I think I made a mistake. So I think I put the options in the vector. And actually what I need to do now is say if cards len differs from 5, because we need to have 5 cards, then we return none. Okay, cargo check. And now we should be in a situation where we actually handle some of the fuzzing cases. So let's clean again the fuzzing info and run poker fuzz. So now when we get something, we say, okay, we bubble up the none, and I guess we should always, so in case either of the hands is invalid, we should always return none. One unique. Okay, I guess we got rid of one. Probably. Okay, so let's see what's the case here. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay, so let's see. Poker fast, panicking, beginning, core, poker winning hands at lib rs 931. So let's just say frame. Oh, come on. Frame select, and this is 6. So in this place we have an unwrap, and this one failed. Winning hands, May and Fuzz 19. Yeah, this is line here. So main winning hands ultimately bar is 31. So let's just go to line 31. Ha, 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 ha. So fast winning hands plus 446 libras. Yeah, but I don't know, maybe the unwrap. Maybe the unwrap. Let's do this in steps. So let's just say this is something and then do some shading. Max and rank this equals this unwrap. So quit. Yes. So this dovetails quite nicely into the fuzzing subject dovetails quite nicely into the property-based testing because we still get the crash. So because now we're in a situation where we initially assumed that the store that we have is a valid hand, a representation of a hand. So if it isn't, then our program no longer crashes. It returns a none, possibly. Uh, and but that doesn't guarantee that the um, so the any so the poker rules say that there is a property that a straight flush would beat anything else except a straight flush of the same rank, right? So if there is a um, so that's a property of the poker hands, and if you want. So but those are kind of test cases. Um, Another property would be that for any combination of um, numbers from 1 to 10 plus faces um, to which suit, one of the letters for suits are attached to it, and groups of such 5 items are can be turned into a hand, and that should be without issues. So also another property of the card uh, structure that we have somewhere here implemented, and rank card here. So another property of the card would be a property of the card would be that there is no card of any other rank but 1 to 14. So you get 1 to 10 and then Jack, Queen, King, Ace, which is 14. Which if it is anywhere outside that boundary, then that's an error. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. Core on mine, winning hand at line Libares line 35. Uh, so which is this one? Mm, okay, so librs 9 number 35. Okay, so this is actually this is what I wanted. I didn't know what it was, if it was this unwrap or this unwrap. So let's just say frame select, and which one is it? Winning hand 6, just to make sure. Yeah, that's it. So we would say uh, so what are we doing here? Max and rank. Oh, if there is a maximum. Because we have a partial. So if there isn't any, so we could say if let sum max and rank equals, and then we say we don't unwrap here, and we say we is it we want to return this sum, but we want to have fail. I think that might be an okay result. Yeah, if is missing an else, definitely. Else, none. So if this failable, so if it's failable, then we want to do this. Yes, so let's see if we can cargo check or cargo clip your code. Yeah, let's just run. Okay. So what fuzzing in this case helped us to do is to eliminate any kind of assumption related to the sanity of the input. Uh, um, in this case, there is still one crash. Okay, so let's just say um, the proper way to fix it. So in our case, we went down all through the way through the processing of the stir, and then when those failed, we would bubble up the none, and from the cards we get to the hand rank, and from the hand rank we will bubble up to the uh, to our function of winning hands, and return none in case of error. That remove the um, assumption that the input parameter is always correct. The problem is that in practice you don't want to um, work as much with possibly invalid data. You want to do a quick check, or I don't know, quick validation at the boundary and the boundary level. So basically you get the API, and at the API you have some parameter, you validate that parameter, and once that is validated, you work with something which is 100% valid. So a nicer way to do this would be to just say um, at the beginning of the function of the winning hands, we say, okay, if its length equals to 1, no, actually no, before anything else, we would say, okay, for each of the hands, we want to um, make sure that the stir which it corresponds to is a valid hand, which has 5 groups of number slash face one of the suits, and after that, and only after that, so if that holds true, then we process further. If it doesn't hold true, then we need to just return none. So it's the function is robust, and once that is done, you have no need to pass back from the new as option, self, and so on for the hand range, and so on, because you know for a fact that you have something that must be changeable, or at least parsable into a valid hand. Okay, so we have winning hands at line 19, and we have iter tools sorted by adlib_rs 2066. Poker winning hands librs 919. Here. Okay. So that goes into sorted by. Actually, what we want is, if this is none, we just return none, because otherwise we would go and process further. So I think that's the way to fix this. So remove this and run again. So what we do is, whenever we find something which is not parsable, at that place we break out, well, basically we return early and return none, so we don't pass anything to sorted by that could fail. Now again. Okay. Let's see what is the issue now. Oh, I think that filter map also return none. I think oh yeah, that's equivalent. Is it? No, huh? That's not the closure. Let's see, winning hands, librs frame 26. Let's just say frame select 26. Let iter hands. If let some. Oh, Oh, that's a closure. I didn't do anything with the return none. Um, mm, no, let's just do something like we're already 3 hours after the start point, but we started late. Yeah, I don't know how I should do this. Maybe I could stop at this point here. Check. So what does filter map again? Filter map. If the closure returns some element, then that element is returned. Remove the option automatically. If it's already written option and you want to skip or nonce, much nicer to use. Actually, I think I don't want that. I think I want I want to stop here and then say if it len less than, oh no, why do we do that? Less than hands len, then we return none. So that effectively removes any kind of processing, and then say let it equals it dot it sorted by and we what? No method telephone instruct. Oh, we don't have a length for iterators. Count, right? Count, yes. Count. Okay. Now it should be happy. Now it's not happy because it was moved. Use of moved value. Because it had blah blah blah. Where is it? Here. Quit. Yes. Let's see what the error says. Value moved here. Yeah, we don't want to move here. We want it to say this. I don't remember the copy trait. Move occurs because values types stored iter filter map which does not implement copy trait. Okay, it clone and then whatever. It clone and then count, and okay. Again. Now this is interesting. Did that other... No, it didn't crash. Wow. What if I... Hmm. Not sure if I remove those cases, but fuzz main. Oh, things changed. So poker winning hands leave RS line 27. Really? Winning hands at leave line 27. Frame select 27. Okay, this is 27. It goes into honk fuzz, and it should end up in my code in poker. Poker hand new at leave RS 204. Which bubbles up to cards option panic. Here, leave RS line 149. 149. Yeah, of course. Now we have... Oh, we don't want to unwrap. We want to use the question mark operator, because if not, we would want to turn this as a none. Yes, so how do you say now? Remove, and then remove. Oh, it looks better. Looks better. No more crashes. Yay! Fuzzing was successful. Okay. So this is one of the reasons why unwrap is not a good idea in production code. You don't want the software to crash, you just want it to fail gracefully, but that means that you have some kind of notion of fails gracefully, because in the case of poker, I would say if you find somebody cheating or bringing some other cards than poker cards, basically that's an invalid hand, so it's kind of a okay, you're cheating, so you should panic. So we're not in the Wild West, so we we don't pull out, we don't draw out guns, but it's something that it's not valid. So if you get some string which is not valid hand, this is what now happens. So in our case, now we managed to fuzz the code in such a way that is um, robust enough to no longer crash, not crash on invalid input. It will just bubble up none, 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 and then says, okay, nobody wins, go fish. Okay, so I guess I can add another terminal. Say git add -p. This, actually everything. Let's say if we have anything else, and say git ci -m uh, fast code, and removed all crashes, all found crashes, found crashes. I expect that at some point there will be a card, it will be a 0 of clubs or something like that. And I'm not sure what happens in that case, but no, actually any kind of number. So okay, I'm actually returning invalid cards here. Okay, so maybe I could add an assert here and say um, here assert um, rank greater than 0 and rank is smaller than, oh, don't do that, 15. I guess fast code removal found crashes instead. Yeah, and this would have been this kind of assert is introduced not as a consequence of the fuzzing, because we see for the fact that we have no longer any kind of crashes, but this would be more appropriate for property-based testing. So, oh, finally we have a crash here. Okay, so yeah. Uh, so instead of panic, bubble up, none. Okay, we remove this. We should create that, actually that is a branch. It branch fuzzing and we should reset master branch to this commit, because we would want to come back to that baseline when we talk about property-based testing, because it will be a little bit more maybe interesting to see how the code develops out of property-based testing. I think I'm not 100% sure, but it might be. This might be a good um, mm, path also. So good baseline also. So let's just git tag. Um, just say what do we tag? This is minus a poker part 3 and this is say code after live coding session 3 on the poker exercise. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's the right place. Okay, so we can close this. This is no longer creating any kind of crashes apparently. So let's just stop it because it just eats out a CPU. So let's go back to this, and after you've seen already some debug sessions here. So what we say here is what was it? Cargo hfuzz run debug. Close, 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 close. It's nice that it generates valid strings because I didn't have to implement arbitrary for those. That's cool. So cargo hfuzz run debug, and then okay, cargo fuzz run debug example, and then hfuzz workspace example dot fuzz. Yeah, I think in my attempts initially, before this exercise, I didn't pay attention to the fact that the instructions are incorrect here, and they're saying fuzzing workspace instead of hfuzz. Okay, so where is it? Example main at line 23. So this, so we would say frame select, and it is frame 3. Yeah, so basically it is obvious. We went through all of the, so even though this is randomly generated, because we have some kind of instrumentation of the code, we are able to advance the fuzzing with cases which are more and more appropriate to run through the different code paths. So yeah, I guess that is all for today. One final thing which I could do is maybe clone this repository and correct the hongfuzz rs issues that I found. So the documentation issue that I found here. What? No, sorry. Let me transition just to my camera so you don't see my passwords or how I okay. Okay, so let's just there's something wrong here. So I guess we can transition back and just say issues. Yep. So we had this issue and we what? What's this? And we also had this H fuzz, not fuzzing workspace. Okay, so fork this into my upstreaming. Refresh it, clone it, okay, let me transition back to this. So where is it? Terminal. Okay, it's some issue of typing my passphrase. Okay, so now I have on fuzz rs not lcd cd. Okay, and I have it in this path. Okay, I will show you my screen immediately. So let's just move here and transition. You should see my screen. We finished the exercise with this one, so let's just open another folder. This is the clone that we just made, and let's correct the readme instructions. So I just say lib ilzma dev which fixes issue. Where is it? Here. Fixes issue 38. Lib lzma dev. Okay. And then we also need to correct the instruction relating how to debug. So this is hfuzz. Okay. hfuzz. So just to prove this, here are the folders. So we have a hfuzz workspace and an hfuzz target. So not fuzzing workspace but hfuzz. Each one's workspace. And I think in the case of the example, it was actually a little bit deeper. So each one's workspace. No, it is exactly here. Okay. Okay. No, hfuzz example. Okay, so does it work? Does it work with that kind of instructions? So if you have hfuzz workspace fuzz, hfuzz example, hfuzz. Why don't I copy paste this just to make sure that it works? Yep, it failed. So we actually need to say maybe this. Yep. Or cleaner. I think it's easier if we say star, but it's cleaner if we just say example. But if you look at some other code, this will be more portable because this is obvious that you need to change it. So I'll use this instead. Okay, yes. So let's show that this was actually panicking. Where is it? Example, where is it? Yeah, in the end it runs, but it kind of is messy, isn't it? Context reception. Panicked at ball. Oh, I think it's okay. Right? It should be the same. Yeah. Quit. Yes. So let's just copy the error message when it didn't work. So just say this. And then this. Yep. Okay, so here we need actually to say star slash, and I think that's it. So stage, selected ranges, yeah, stage selected ranges. This is a white space at end of line. This is also white space at end of line. I'll put that in a separate commit. This needs a blank line, so let's just do that. Why is it expected asterisk actual dash? Oh, I'm not changing that. Here I can, and actually I could change it because the rendering should be identical, right? Yeah, make software behaviors, whatever. Yeah, okay. Just say this. Say find minus space, replace with star space. Yes, replace. Yes. No, that's it. Cargo fast clean. Okay. So let's say git d sanitizer. No, git d cached. Lib lzma and okay, git ci -m. Fix instructions related to sample. Okay. This is bug number 38. Fixes 38. Actually, let's put it somewhere in here. So add lib lzma dev in the list of prerequisites found as needed on Debian. I think it's 9. I think I have a Debian 9. Cut. Let's see, Debian version. Yep. And I think that's cache. See whatever apt. No. Stretch. Okay, so Debian 9 stretch. Okay, fixes 38, right? And then fix incorrect instructions on how to run debug session. With provided instructions the following error appears. I think I need a set paste, and yeah, but I needed actually to split this. Fail to run, whatever. So this set, oh no, set no paste, and let's just indent this. I think this should be and I think we should remove this because they are misleading. You say okay, instead we with the proposed more copy friendly command we get this, and let's just maybe I should remove the paths here. Anyway, get the proper trace. Instead, okay, I think this is okay. Perfect. Okay, and now we should add some white space fixes and some markdown corrections. Okay, let's just say minus u, say git ci minus m, readme md markdown and markdown syntax and white space fixes. Git push. Okay. Whoa, we're already 3 hours in. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3 hours in. We have to stop. So let's see, where is my okay, streaming, and let's just pull request. Where is it? Forked. Manage topic. Don't remember how I was supposed to do the pull request. Definitely. Okay, this. I think I should go here and say Open a pull request and then I can select pull requests, new pull request, uh, compare, what compare? Sample staging, compare across forks. Yeah, that was it. So streaming. Okay. Okay. Fix. Run. Debug. Sample. Instructions. And okay. I see there are no questions. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see there are no questions. This will finish when it will finish. I don't think I have anything else prepared or in any way relevant for this topic. So I guess bye and good night for me. It's quite late. So stop streaming.